0285553.
Well, hi, this should be us, and we are starting the broadcast here about 5 minutes before the show begins, just in case it doesn't actually start streaming, because, these things happen. So we're really excited to be doing this
Don't forget that's your mic up there.
live stream. I should hope not, because I have
you've
this
turned it on.
microphone.
Nobody told you to turn it. You didn't get permission to turn that on.
Well, there it is. It's on.
Sigh. Okay.
So at this point, I'm just going to scoot over to the view of the stage.
Not even doing hair, look,
Oh no,
makeup, nothing.
What do you think I've been doing for the last 5 hours? Just hair and makeup, right? Ooh. So
Oh, look, a stage.
there we go.
Right, so I still need a link to tune into this. Or can I just search for us and find it? I have no idea.
For now, here's an idea. I'm just going to mute the microphone so you guys can just stare at the screen.
I take
but
it you've
you
all
should
seen
know.
that wonderful video of those two old guys trying to work out what they were doing without realising they were online. I think it was us.
Okay, I am going to switch you guys over to the stage view, and I'm going to mute the microphone, just so if we say stupid stuff, you don't get to listen in. Yeah. But we will, as you will see, we have you set up on a camera right in the front row.
Hi, Karen. That's great. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes from the scenic front yard of Hank and Claire's abode.
Are you talking to people?
I'm talking to people. There are there are real people out here too. Apparently Karen's online already.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah. Now,
And you could, if you wanted to, just stall for other people to arrive.
was there
Tell
another?
the lovely online audience that you've got some
Yeah,
more people
they
on.
said. Yeah, Dale and Bonnie were still coming, and there's somebody else, Jan and Frank.
Yeah.
That we thought we saw them up there, but I think that must have been
Yeah.
Kamal. Okay. Well, I think we're just going to hang out here for a few minutes and see if a couple. Oh, we could do the pre-show.
Entire TikTok on the web waiting for us to start.
Isn't we like to build the anticipation. You just never know.
Are we doing that now?
Here comes a car. Yeah, we're building anticipation. There's a car. There's a car that's parked.
We're waiting for the chainsaws and the leaf blowers to crank up here.
We sent out. I sent out an email.
Yeah.
Actually, we have two who snuck out of church. I think you must have say.
We actually recorded a submission to the Tumbleweed Folk Festival a couple of years ago from our deck, and our neighbor was pouring concrete up the street.
Right at the end of our 3-song
Right.
set.
Yeah.
That was delightful. But
we had to note that it's not a lot quieter at Tumbleweed anyways.
that's right.
Get the motorboats on the
Sandstorms.
river
Yeah.
and the
Bring your neighbor along so it will be the same as your initial
So, how are we doing? It's all good to go technically, right? We've got everything going. Okay, we'll just wait. This is probably Dale and Bonnie come and grab in there. Hey, I think that's what you should do. Is play that. We sent an email out to the entire neighborhood saying that if they were planning on felling trees today, would they please give me a call? And yeah, actually, one of the nearby neighbors made sure to call me yesterday and say, I was going to get the chainsaw out, but I'm going to hold off.
Crisis averted.
Crisis averted. Yeah, and we of course invited them to come, bring lawn chairs and listen in. So, very glad to have you here.
Well, thank you for hosting.
yeah.
Oh, this is
And where are you from?
Bremerton.
Bremerton. Okay.
far, far away.
Can't you tell the
Who's the-
Bremerton accent?
I
Do
know.
we have
Well, actually, it's an East Bremerton drawl.
East Bremerton
Bremerton
draw?
drawl.
You got it.
Well, I lived in East Bremerton for a while, but I guess not long enough to pick up the
Pick up the draw.
accent.
Kamal could start the show with a brief stand-up if you like.
Oh, cool. So,
If I'm making too much noise, just shout, "Quiet in the cheap seats."
we're good. Hello, Dale. Hi, Bonnie. Would you be willing to put that in the middle room? There's a table. Just lay it down there, unless it needs to be refrigerated. Seems okay. All right. I think maybe as soon as they are settled, there are 2 available seats right here.
6, 8.
You could just leave those in the back. Yeah. If anybody comes and needs them, they can figure it out. I'm sorry. It's what?
This seat is for short people.
For short people only.
Vertically challenged Americans.
We'll let Bonnie come on back. And then we'll
Wait.
begin.
This is a lovely.
So,
lovely
folks
place.
online,
Well, thank you. Thank you.
you probably have noticed there's a tip jar available to you to be sure that you support live music making. And
And,
all that proceeds go to the artist, which in this case today is Tanya. So we will not be taking anything under the table today, except the trash and the leftover food items, things like that. Okay, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think we should.
Okay.
I think we,
We should start?
I think we should start. So
Okay.
we're going to start with just a couple of tunes, and we're just delighted to have you here today. I know you're going to enjoy it. So here we go.
You and me, sitting in the back of my memory, like a honeybee, buzzing round a glass of sweet Chablis. The radio's on, the windows rolled up, the blinds rolled down. Headlights shining like a silver moon rolling on the ground. We made love in every way love can be made. We made time look like time could never fade. Friday night,
We both made the guitar hum. Saturday made Sunday feel like it would never come. It's gonna be a long Monday, sitting all alone on a mountain by a river that has no end. It's gonna be a long Monday, stuck like the tick of a clock that's come unwound again. Soul to soul, heart to heart, and cheek to cheek. Come on, baby, give me a kiss that'll last all week. The thought of you leaving again brings me down. The promise of your sweet love brings me around. It's gonna be a long Monday, sitting all alone on a mountain by a river that has no end. It's gonna be a long Monday, stuck like the tick of a clock that's come unwound again and again. So that was a John Prine song, and we're going to be joined in a moment by a couple more folks. So we'll let them settle in here for a second. Yeah. We are Hank and Claire, and this is our house, our front yard, and we're just delighted to start hosting these house concerts again. And we're especially happy today that we get to do this outdoors, so everybody feels safe and comfy. We've got 4 chairs in the front row. You can take the food into the center room in the house if you would please, and come on in and fill in the front row seats here. It'd be great. So we have a presence on YouTube and a website, Facebook page, sort of all the things Tanya has taught us to do from her years of experience at making this a career. Hank and I met about 14 years ago. I guess it is now.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems a long time. And we met, yes, and you know whose name I'm going to bring up next. We met because of Ms. Carol Glenn, who's in the audience with us today, because of a music program that she was the local sponsor for. And she convinced me to be involved with it, and that's where I met Hank. And Hank claims that this was his 3rd time of signing up and spending a couple $1,000s to meet the right woman. Go figure. Yeah. I think this is still. I'm just a little bit.
Well, that was Long Monday, the John Prine song. I'm sure many of you knew that. But we, when we first started playing out, we used to open every gig with that because it's just so much fun to get people smiling and to see the reaction.
Okay, I'm good to go. Yeah, and our next gig is next weekend at after today at Tumbleweed, which is this wonderful festival over in Richland, Washington, and I know Tanya and Mike will be there too. Will you not? And Reed and Bill. Anybody else going? Not on your schedule yet? It's also virtual. They do everything online as well, but not live streamed like this. All right, we're going to do a Kate Wolf song, and then after that we'll turn it over to Tanya. Okay, ready, set.
Yeah.
I've been walking in my sleep, counting trouble instead of counting sheep. Where the years went, I can say I just turned around. They've gone away, and I've been sifting through the layers, dusty books and faded papers. Tell a story I used to know. It was one that happened so long ago. It's gone away in yesterday. Sing it with us. Now I find myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. I thought I heard the owl calling softly as the night was falling, with a question, and I replied, and now she's gone across that borderline. Here we go. It's gone away in yesterday, in yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction across the great divide. The finest hour that I have seen is the one that comes between the edge of night and the break of day, when the darkness rolls away. It's gone away in yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction across the great divide. Where the rivers change direction across the great divide. Thank you. So we are deeply pleasured to bring on, welcome two more members of the audience into the, yes, the special seats. And we're going to bring Tanya up. We're going to also, what?
Now bump into umbrellas and cables and
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
tall people.
I didn't have my guitar here. You should talk.
Let me take mine.
Yeah.
Walk them out that
Come
way.
out this way.
Out that way. Yeah. So tall. Oh, okay. I turn it over to the main act of the day, Miss Tania Opland. There you go, lady.
Thank you. Well, this is such a treat to have actual faces in front of us. I was just telling Claire, for the last 2.5 years, Mike and I have been, well, we've been staying with my mom. You know, we got up to Alaska just as COVID was starting and realized that it was really not a good idea to just leave her there on her own. And so we were there for another week, and another week, and another month, and another year. And so we started doing all this live streaming stuff, which those of you who are watching us online have been watching for 2 years, and some of you who are here live have been watching for a while. But we used to have to take the camera and dress it up as a person and put it across the room from us so that we would remember to look at the camera. And now we've just taken it and put it in the front row so that we remember we've got some more friends over there. So virtual audience, meet actual audience. I'm not going to turn the camera around, sorry, but I just want you to both know that you're both here, and we're really glad to have you here. And the really good news is that I found my set list. So I have some clue what I'm doing. I'm going to start off with a song that I haven't done in a long, long time, but a longtime friend who, the generational thing. Her mother was a good friend of mine back when I was in high school, and now this longtime friend has welcomed a new person into the world, and so we are going to do this song to start with, a song by Sally Rogers, as a welcome to Epic, which is the first time I'd heard that name, so well done. Good job. And it goes something like this. Ooh, the fingers are working today. I'm really terrible at this, so if anybody wants to back me up, my fingers are likely to give out halfway through the song. Babies are born in the circle of the sun on their birthing day. Babies are born in the circle of the sun on their birthing day. Clouds to the north, clouds to the south, wind and rain to the east and the west. Babies are born in the circle of the sun on their birthing day. Well, babies take their first step in the circle of the sun on their walking day. Babies take their first step in the circle of the sun on their walking day. Clouds to the north, clouds to the south, wind and rain to the east and west. Babies take their first step in the circle of the sun on their walking day. Well, babies say the first word in the circle of the sun on the talking day. Babies say their first word in the circle of the sun on the talking day. Clouds to the north, clouds to the south, wind and rain to the east and the west. Children say their first word in the circle of the sun on the talking day. We got married in the circle of the sun on our wedding day. We got married in the circle of the sun on our wedding day. Clouds to the north, clouds to the south, wind and rain to the east and the west. We got married in the circle of the sun on our wedding day. Well, we'll hope to die in the circle of the sun on our dying day. You can spread my ashes in the circle of the sun on my dying day. Clouds to the north, clouds to the south, wind and rain to the east and the west. Hope to die in the circle of the sun on my dying day. Yeah, babies are born in the circle of the sun on their birthing day. Babies are born in the circle of the sun on their birthing day. Clouds to the north, clouds to the south, wind and rain to the east and the west. Babies are born in the circle of the sun on their birthing day. Thank you. A song by Sally Rogers. Well, thank you so much to Hank and Claire for having us play here. We played quite a while pre-COVID house concert, didn't we, in the beautiful living room inside, but we just kind of thought that, the stage we're at now, we might have better mutual comfort sitting outdoors or watching online. And in fact, I know there are some people who are probably close enough to have got here in person who are watching online because, hey, you've got automatic guaranteed front row seat. Not that I didn't arrange that for you here anyway. And you've got the your own place and your own facilities, and you can go off and take a break whenever you want. And you can hit pause. So you don't have that option. Sorry. Let's see. Mike is over here with me too. I don't know if he wants to show his face, but he does. We set that up, didn't we? There you guys can see him, right? Well, most of you. Can you guys see? It's all right. He might. There he is. Yeah. I'm going to do a song from Paulsbo, because why not? Here we are in Paulsbo. This is one that was written by our friend Billy Forrester, and he's one of our many musician friends who has kept his day job going, even though he's a fabulous singer-songwriter who probably could have toured, but I don't know, raising 11 kids tends to put a little bit of a damper in that. So this is one of the songs that Billy Forrester wrote about having to have a day job, which is something I try to educate myself about every once in a while because I haven't had one in over 30 years. And it starts usually with Mike's drum. So do you want to?
Well, I might have been tempted, but I can't find it.
Oh, it's in the garage.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe
You
we'll.
parked it, thanks. Okay.
Maybe Hank can find it for us before we start the next song. Don't rush now,
No, go for
Hank.
it.
But yeah,
Yeah, don't mind me. Go.
Mike might join me halfway through this. You never know. So, a song by Billy Forrester. I hear the ringing of my clock. It's a new day. Sun outside my window. Go away. I was in a dream that was pretty good. I don't want to come back, although I know I should. I've got a home, I got a job, I got a family. Seems the whole damn world depends on me. If I don't get out of bed and walk, I'll never run. Sometimes I wish the morning didn't have to come. I'd like nothing more than to run forever with you. Through the fields, past the fence lines and the phone lines and the sound of the big jet plane. Where every moment in time, every picture in my mind, every word we speak is one to savor, for they favor a lighter side of blue. A million tons of metal on the freeway, just sitting there like scenery. Everybody in a hurry, going nowhere. We're all people of vision, so we sit and stare. I have a little coffee with my headlines. It's a full-time job keeping up with the times. I read the paper every morning just so if something happens to me, I'll be the first to know. I'd like nothing more than to run forever with you. Through the fields, past the fence lines and the phone lines and the sound of the big jet plane. Where every moment in time, every picture in my mind, every word we speak is one to savor, for they favor a lighter side of blue. slip into my dream, slip into my job. I can do them both at once, it's easy. Automatic pilot, cruise control. 2 worlds at once and nobody knows. After work I'll stop for a pint or two before I run on home to you. My life, my children, rest and peace. We're all running through the fields, fast asleep. I'd like nothing more than to run forever with you. Through the fields, past the fence lines and the phone lines and the sound of the big jet plane. Where every moment in time, every picture in my mind, every word we speak is one to savor, for they favor a lighter side of blue. I'd like nothing more than to run forever with you. Through the fields, past the fence lines and the phone lines and the sound of the big jet plane. Where every moment in time, every picture in my mind, every word we speak is one to savor, for they favor a lighter side of blue. Thank you, Billy Forrester. Well, this next one is a song from England, or actually from Wales, written by Hugh Williams. And it's a story of a person he had read about who was a little girl in the Blitz in World War II. And she and her sister were asleep together in the same room. And when one of the bombs hit, well, she came staggering out, and they couldn't find her sister. So Hugh got a chance to meet her many, many years later, and she'd heard the song. The song has been everywhere in England for decades now, because so many people went through that, and I keep flashing back to it now because of all the scenes we're seeing coming out of the Ukraine. And so I just wanted to do this Hugh Williams song today for the people of Ukraine and for their future. Brother of disaster, sister of our fate, do you count the tragedies we see? And brother of confusion, sister of debate, do you remember the sister of Rosemary? Doodlebugs were flying, the Blitz was at its height. Rosemary lay sleeping with her sister, only 9. And no one heard the one that hit, the one that blew the lid. But Rosemary came out crying, and her sister never did. You fly high, your dreams are all in vain. One moment you are singing, and the next you cry with pain. And high above the heavens, in a host of angels' wings, Rosemary's sister will be dancing. Her mother cried all that year, as so many others did. There were moments when she'd pull through now and then. And the people there in Bethnal Street, in the rubble and the stone, just swept it up and started on again. When tyranny is biting, you do your best to try to stifle all your heartache until it's safe again to cry. Then when the darkness disappears and the light comes shining through, you gather all that you have left and start anew. and you fly high. Your dreams are all in vain. One moment you are singing, and the next you cry with pain. And high above the heavens, in a host of angels' wings, Rosemary's sister will be dancing. There's a teacher in the classroom, there's a mother in the hall. The children sit and wait for the bell to go. Rosemary stands watching, she has a child there of her own. She's waiting to collect and take her home. Sometimes in the firelight, in darkness where she sits, her mind goes back to Bethnal Street, to the darkness and the glitz. And she's heard if there's another one, then the end will be complete. Well, I wonder what they'd say in Bethnal Street. You fly high, your dreams are all in vain. One moment you are singing, and the next you cry with pain. And high above the heavens, in a host of angels' wings, Rosemary's sister will be dancing. You fly high, your dreams are all in vain. One moment you are singing, and the next you cry with pain. And high above the heavens, in a host of angels' wings, Rosemary's sister will be dancing. Thank you. And thanks to Hugh Williams for that. But while I'm on the subject of the Ukraine, you want me closer to the microphone? Oh, I've got the silent cues coming from the side here. On the subject of the Ukraine, I've just been doing a little bit of reading about the hurdy-gurdy, which is one of my favorite subjects. And it's a little daunting to want to pull my hurdy-gurdy out in front of somebody who I know has been playing decades longer than I have. But I'm going to do it anyway because the hurdy-gurdy, it's hiding. It's right back there. Oh, who has been playing decades?
Oh, you're not going to out people, are you?
Okay.
Only if she wants to be outed. She's just sitting there quietly on the front row on the aisle seat. Yeah. But now the hurdy-gurdy, it turns out, or the lira in the Ukraine, is the core of a huge tradition. Oh, it's perfectly acceptable. Sorry, this is something you guys never have to do at home. But if you're getting too much sun on you, we can shift chairs around a little bit.
That's okay. I'm used to extremely hot climates.
Okay. Okay, just don't suffer to try to be quiet for the live stream because I know everybody out there understands. So the lira in the Ukraine, along with the bandura and another one that I've forgotten the name of. No. Bandura is, these are getting into banjo. No, not the banjo. But big long-necked instruments anyway. Are the core of this huge and ancient tradition in the Ukraine of itinerant musicians who used to travel around and carry this whole body of culture with them from place to place. And that tradition largely died out from the 1930s until the fall of the Soviet Union because under Stalin, it all became illegal. Not just illegal, but they were actually rounding up and killing hurdy-gurdy players. So there weren't a whole lot of them left except the ones who were doing the official, the Soviet version of the music, which was very different. So just because I've got a hurdy-gurdy here and I'm not entirely afraid to use it, I just have to tune it first because you always do have to tune the hurdy-gurdy before you start. I'm going to do a snatch of the Ukrainian national anthem. And then go from there into a Ukrainian song that I learned many, many years ago, which makes little enough sense that it could well be one of those ancient cycle of songs or a bit of it. But it is about overcoming hardship and coming back. Здесь тут була батальяночка, десь тут була молодесенька, тут воно сіла, тут воно впала, до землі припала, сім'ї тлі вливалась, проведіння мала. Десь тут була батальяночка, десь тут була молодесенька, тут воно сіла, тут воно впала, до землі припала, сім'ї тлі вливалась, доведені батальяночка, ой, стан, молодеценька, не свою личко винки, бежи до Дунаю, бери молоденьку, бери то, что знаю. Ой, стан, батальяночка, ой, стан, молодеценька, не свою личко винки, бежи до Дунаю, бери молоденьку, бери то, что знаю. Батальяночка, ой, стан, молодеценька, ми свою личко винки, бежи до Дунаю, бери молоденьку, бери то, что знаю. Thank you. Thank you. And if anybody Ukrainian is listening online, please, you can go ahead and just tell me how badly I mangled it later, okay? Yes, it certainly is. But we only see that when we get Mike's camera on so that he can show what's above him there. There he is. I've got another Ukrainian tune that I learned a long time ago, and must have been during another time. I haven't looked back to see what was going on in Ukraine back in the 1980s when my friend Christy Cook was living in Calgary, and all of a sudden they had a huge wave of Ukrainian immigration. And she's a hammered dulcimer player. And first thing she noticed was that a whole bunch of these Ukrainian folks were playing cymbalums, which is basically a heavy-duty furniture version of a hammered dulcimer. And so she decided to look up some Ukrainian music and learn a tune and go introduce herself to the Ukrainian community with a tune ready to go. And as she told it to me anyway, she said she worked and worked and worked and worked at this tune, and then found a group of musicians to get together with and played her tune for them. And they said, well, that's not a tune that we play on the dulcimer, but it's nice. So I'll follow her fine example here and play this tune that a Ukrainian apparently wouldn't play on the hammer dulcimer, because I learned it from Christy Cook in Calgary, Alberta, so it's now a Canadian-Ukrainian tune.
We have a close friend of ours that his cousin is a Ukrainian. They've been in British Columbia for a while. And he was RCAF pilot battling against different people at that time. So we're well familiar with that and those very, very ancient cultural constructs that they have.
Yeah.
Despite the desire to neutralize from other places.
Other places, yeah. Yeah, I usually do a whole lot of songs from other places, but, I'm kind of hanging that part of my repertoire on the shelf for now. So here's a tune. I don't know the name of it, but this is the Ukrainian tune from Calgary. you. Well, I took my watch off. How are we doing for time? I want to leave room for a second set after the all-important interval where we get snacks and things.
That's all I
And-
came for.
I know, and my watch isn't telling me a thing. So. I hate this. Well, if you guys still have 2 songs worth of sitting time in you before we have a break, I'll just do 2 more songs and then that'll be it.
It's a quarter
Okay.
till.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now, am I going to hit anything?
Not so far. Keep going. Well, you've got one foot on a bag.
Yes, I have. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. See, that's what I need, guidance. Thank you. And you can see okay over it? It's not too much in your way. Great. All right. Mike, will you be willing to join me on the last song, the one after this one? I'm saying this now to give you a chance to work around the wind chimes and things. All kinds of fun
Yes,
to do.
dear.
Okay, I'm going to finish off with 2 songs that I wrote. Or I wrote the music for this first one. This one, I'm hoping that our friend Hans might be online with us. I don't know if he's been able to join us, but he's over in Holland, so it's
Seen him yet?
it's getting a bit late in his time zone, and I wanted to put this in the first half just in case he was getting on towards falling over time. But when we did a couple of albums with our friend Anne McCaffrey, who was a wonderful science fiction and fantasy writer, yeah, that's what we never had, live streaming from the basement, isn't it? Occasionally we had moose nibbling on the sedge right at the window, but we didn't have cars going by. So we were working with Anne McCaffrey with the lyrics that she had put in her books, which were many, and usually just little tiny snatches. So I was doing things like this, where I found 3 different little sets of lyrics from 3 of her different books, and thought, those go together, they should be one song, and so I did it. Can you hear me over the airplane, Mike? I should be asking the online crowd. Can you hear me over the airplane? I'm just going to do the intro again, just in case it gets lost. The blackest night must end in dawn, the sun dispel the dreamer's fear. When shall my soul's bleak, hopeless pain find solace in its darkening weir? When shall my soul's bleak, hopeless pain find solace in its darkening weir? Harper, your song has a sorrowful sound, though the tune was written as gay. Your voice is sad, your hands are slow, and your eye, meeting mine, turns away. Your voice is sad, your hands are slow, and your eye, meeting mine, turns away. Harper, tell me of the road that leads beyond this hold, that wends its way beyond the hill. Does it go further on until it ends in sunset's gold? The blackest night must end in dawn. The sun dispel the dreamer's fear. When shall my soul's bleak, hopeless pain find solace in its darkening weir? When shall my soul's bleak, hopeless pain find solace in its darkening weir? Thank you. Okay, well, for one more song to finish off this set, and then it's Munchies time. I'm going to get Mike to squeeze around here and find his way to his drum and play you a song. Well, we started the set singing a song to welcome in a new person who's just arrived in the world. And this last song is one that I... Jingle, jingle.
See how quietly I did that?
Perfect.
You wouldn't even notice, would you?
Be over about here. So I'm going to finish off with one that I wrote to say goodbye to my brother.
Hi, everybody.
When he went. And it was kind of challenging because he was such a lively and vibrant and active and amazingly wonderful person that I was starting to write one song, and I got online and read all the stuff other people were writing about him, and that completely took me off the song I'd been starting to write, and wrote the song that he would have wanted, which is something that you would want to dance to. And the first line comes from his girlfriend, from Kathy. I wrote and asked, he was a backcountry skier, like a backcountry skier among backcountry skiers. And a lot of the runs are named from his experiences with them. And so I just asked Kathy, what were some of his favorite runs? You know, what would he like to have remembered with him as his ski runs? And she sent me a text which said basically this first little verse. You ready? Okay. Tin Can Proper, Super Bowl Peak, the basketball run, Granddaddy, and TT 4300. The sun's diamond rays lit the cornice, and the day was nearly over. The light would be fading. But Eric made another climb. He saw a line he'd like to try. The man was amazing and crazy. He loved the Chugach Mountains. He was the Kenai's favorite child. He knew Talkeetna's peaks and slopes, and he skied them free and wild. Tourniquet or Hatcher or wherever the powder's sweet, cranking smooth, steady turns with clouds under his feet. Remember frost-covered handlebar eyebrows and the slow drawl. How's it going? Catalyst for epic days, a madman on the dance floor, and a shining light of love and passion. He loved the Chugach Mountains. He was the Kenai's favorite child. He knew Talkeetna's peaks and slopes, and he skied them free and wild. Tourniquet or Hatcher or wherever the powder's sweet, cranking smooth, steady turns with clouds under his feet. On one ski, how many slides did he knock down? Ride on, Viking, ride on in the never-ending mountains. Your legend will live on. He loved the Chugach Mountains. He was the Kenai's favorite child. He knew Talkeetna's peaks and slopes, and he skied them free and wild. Tourniquet or Hatcher or wherever the powder's sweet, cranking smooth, steady turns with clouds under his feet. This song is for his mother and his sweetheart, his family and friends. We know we will never see his like again. Tin Can Proper, Super Bowl Peak, the basketball run, Granddaddy, TT 4300. Kick step, sunburst, captain's chair, the library, big league, pastoral, and spirit walker. He loved the Chugach Mountains, he was the Kenai's favorite child. He knew Talkeetna's peaks and slopes, and he skied them free and wild. Turnican or Hatcher, or wherever the powder's sweet, cranking smooth, steady turns with clouds under his feet. He loved the Chugach Mountains, he was the Kenai's favorite child. He knew Talkeetna's peaks and slopes, and he skied them free and wild. Turnican or Hatcher, or wherever the powder's sweet, cranking smooth, steady turns with clouds under his smooth, steady turns with clouds under his smooth, steady turns with clouds under his feet. Thank you, Mike. It feels so much more normal with Mike up here with me.
That's a first.
Yay. So there's an intermission waiting for all of us out there with potluck goodies and teas and coffees. There's a basket there that Hank is waving around. There's also a donations link online in the description of the video.
Hank is our favourite basket case, is he not?
He is. Yeah. So so we'll be back probably 15 minutes or less.
Food,
And,
goodies.
So thank you. Now Mike has to get over there and hit the button that says intermission, because that will start something magic happening. That'll be a flashback to the last time I did a solo live stream.
For those who haven't been here, just go through the front door here. Restrooms are down the hall to the left. If the one at the end of the hall is occupied, just take a right and jog around to the other one.
I'm up.
Go straight through. You know where the food is, so the deck is open.
Here's a tune I wrote a long time ago called Mary Lou Murphy's, and I'm going to follow it with my favorite Irish tunes to play after it, which are Out on the Ocean and The Ship's in Full Sail. Well, how about I take a stab at some of the real classics of American folk themes. We've got here, you got work, you know, railroad, you've got family, you've got, let's see, got the basic themes of murder and mayhem and flight from the law, jail time, capital punishment. It's all wrapped up in this lovely little fun tune. So that's it. Death and Destruction, a cheerful melody is my idea of perfect folk song. See how that goes? Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. I've been working on that new railroad with the mud up to my knees. Working on that new railroad with the mud up to my knees. Working for Big John Henry, you know he's so hard to please. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Going up on the mountain, it's there I'll make my stand. Going up on the mountain, it's there I'll make my stand. Pistol in my pocket and a rifle in my hand. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Lulu, oh Lulu, come and open up that door. Lulu, oh Lulu, come and open up that door. Before I have to open it with my Colt 44. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Mama and Papa and little sister made three. Mama and Papa and little sister made three. Coming for to see me, hanging from the gallows tree. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the ground so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the ground so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Right, where were we? Oh yeah, klezmer tune. Shifting Sands. This is one that I've played mostly on my violin, but I fairly recently found out what a great hammered dulcimer tune it makes. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but it sounds fabulous when it works. So wish me luck. Here we go. Well, here's the bit we haven't done before. This being our very first, what do we call it? Hybrid concert where we've got actual audience, but they're all back there, enjoying the snacks and stuff. And with you guys waiting, I'm going to start trying to round people up to bring them back out here to be audience again. And in the meantime, I'll just restart the video. How about that? Since that first track that was on there, you might have seen in the notes, was the one that I had done as part of my last solo live stream, which was over a year ago. And that was the one where the streaming software glitched. And it started out in such slow motion that everybody thought the screen had frozen, but no, it was slow motion. And then it went really, really, really hyper fast until I saw what was going on and lunged through and turned everything off and restarted everything and got back on. So anyway, that was an adventure, and this is a different adventure. So I'm going to go back and take you back to the intermission again, and we'll cut it short this time. Okay. Thank you all for being here. It's so much fun to have you joining us for this experiment. Bye. Here's a tune I wrote a long time ago called Mary Lou Murphy's, and I'm going to follow it with my favorite Irish tunes to play after it, which are Out on the Ocean and The Ship's in Full Sail. Well, how about I take a stab at some of the real classics of American folk themes. We've got here, you got work, you know, railroad, you've got family, you've got, let's see, got the basic themes of murder and mayhem and flight from the law, jail time, capital punishment. It's all wrapped up in this lovely little fun tune. So that's it. Death and Destruction, a cheerful melody is my idea of perfect folk song. See how that goes. Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. I've been working on that new railroad with the mud up to my knees. Working on that new railroad with the mud up to my knees. Working for Big John Henry, you know he's so hard to please. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Going up on the mountain, it's there I'll make my stand. Going up on the mountain, it's there I'll make my stand. Pistol in my pocket and a rifle in my hand. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. Hang me, oh hang me, and I'll be dead and gone. It's not the hanging that I mind, it's laying in the jail so long. Oh Lord, I've been all around this world. Welcome back, everybody. We've got most of our live on the lawn audience here, our live stream audience. Well, some of them were in Europe and might have had to go to bed already, but but they're with us. And our hosts, Hank and Claire, to whom we are extremely grateful for putting this on in the first place, are probably just out there tidying up loose ends. But we're going to go ahead and start anyway, because you know, we don't want the crowd online to go wild. So, I'm going to start this second set with a song that some who might follow us online would have seen that I found a cover version of this done by a young singer named Reina Del Cid. And it reminded me that when I first heard this song about 40 years ago, I meant to learn it. I really did. And I kind of set it aside, and I wasn't sure why. It didn't quite work for me, but it's a song by Peggy Seeger, and it's called "I'm Going to Be an Engineer." And I think what was just a miss for me at that point was that I wanted to be a physicist. And when I was in high school, you know, your senior year in high school, they had this thing where you had to meet with your careers counselor. It's like a one-time thing. I met with my careers counselor. And he was big line about, oh, you want to be a physicist? Well, that requires all kinds of advanced degrees. And, my dear, that would cut into your childbearing years. So, yeah. So he said, no, if you start into physics, you're going to end up being an engineer anyway, so you might as well go to engineering school. So I did. And when I first heard this song, see, I had just left engineering school, moved to another university, changed my major to physics, and then a couple of years later I just said, I'm just going to go see if I can play music for a living instead. So I'm still on my year off. But I realized the thing about this song is this is a song about the world my mother grew up in. My mother was a research chemist, and she grew up with most of the stuff that they talk about in this song, and so much of it she just took for granted as the way things are, the way things are supposed to be. The one part that just didn't work for her was the part about the restrictions on career selections and wages. When I was a little girl, I wished I was a boy. I tagged along behind the gang and wore my corduroys. Everybody thought I only did it to annoy, but I was gonna be an engineer. Mama said, why can't you be a lady? Your duty is to make me the mother of a pearl. Wait until you're older, dear, then maybe you'll be glad that you're a girl. Dainty as a Dresden statue, gentle as a Jersey cow, smooth as silk makes creamy milk. Learn to coo, learn to moo. Well, that's what you do to be a lady now. When I went to school, I learned to write and how to read, some history, geography, and home economy. Then typing is a skill that every girl is sure to need, to while away the extra time until it's time to breed. And then they got the nerve to ask, what would you like to be? I said, I'm gonna be an engineer. No, you only need to learn to be a lady. The duty isn't yours for to try and run the world. An engineer could never have a baby. Remember, dear, that you're a girl. So I started as a typist, but I studied on the sly, working all the day and night so I could qualify. Every time the boss came in, he pinched me on the thigh and said I never had an engineer. You owe it to the job to be a lady. The duty of the staff is to give the boss a whirl. Well, the wages that you get are crummy, maybe, but it's all you get 'cause you're a girl. One fault. No, wait, I'm sorry, I got lost. She's smart for a woman. I wonder how she got that way. You get no choice, you get no voice. Just stay mum and pretend you're dumb. Well, that's how you come to be a lady today. Then when Jimmy came along, we started up a conjugation. We were busy every night with love and recreation. I spent my days at work so he could get his education. Now he's an engineer. He said, I know you'll always be a lady. It's the duty of my darling to love me all her life. Could an engineer look after or obey me? Remember, dear, that you're my wife. I practiced that bit, I did. Well, after Jimmy got a job, I studied hard again. I was happy at my turret lathe a year or more, and then the morning that the twins were born, Jimmy said to them, kids, your mother was an engineer, but now you owe it to the kids to be a lady. The duty of the and now you owe it to the kids to be a lady. Dainty as a dish rag, faithful as a chow. Stay at home, you got to mind the babies. Remember, you're a mother now. What price for a woman? Ah, you buy her for a ring of gold. To love and obey without any pay. You got a cook and a nurse, for better or worse. Well, you don't need a purse when the lady is sold. Every time I turn around, there's something else to do. Cook a meal or mend a sock or sweep a floor or two. Listening to Jimmy Young, it made me want to stew. I was gonna be an engineer, but now I wish that I could be a lady. I would do the lovely things that a lady's supposed to do. I wouldn't even mind if only they would pay me. Then I could be a person too. Well, now the times are harder and my Jimmy's got the sack. I went down to Vickers, they were glad to have me back. I'm a third-class citizen, my wages tell me that, but I'm a first-class engineer. The boss, he said, we pay you as a lady. You know you only got the job, 'cause I can't afford a man. With you, I keep the profits high as maybe. You're just a cheaper pair of hands. You got one fault, you're a woman, not worth equal pay. A bitch or tart, you're nothing but heart, shallow and vain. You got no brain, you even go down the drain like a lady today. Well, I listened to my mother and I joined the typing pool. I listened to my lover and I put him through his school. But if I listen to the boss, I'm just a bloody fool and an underpaid engineer. I've been a sucker ever since I was a baby, as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, as a dear. But I'll fight them as a woman, not a lady. I'll fight them as an engineer. I played those bits at home. Thank you. Yeah, that was the great revelation for my mom, was when she did get her degree and get working as a chemist. They just assumed you're female, so, you know, we'd rather hire a man, but we can pay you 50% of what we would pay a man, because that's just the way it's done. But I have friends who are closer to my own age now, who are retired as engineers, but found that at least in my era, things had gotten better. She was being paid 75% of what the guys were getting. So, and on it goes. Of course, there was a day when if you wanted to have a job outside the home, you had to put on a disguise first. Whoops. I used to do these things kind of smoothly and instinctively back when we did this all the time. I need this strap. So this next one is a traditional English song, and it's part of a whole family of songs about young women who wanted to be sailors. And it seems like, I mean, according to all the versions of this song that I've heard, it seems like it was as simple as putting on a pair of trousers and a man's shirt, and nobody noticed. And there are so many variations on this song. This is one of those where she just wanted the adventure. She just wanted to go off and be a sailor, and searching for her lost true love and all that stuff that's in so many of the songs. But she doesn't get killed, so it's a pretty good ballad that way. That's the wrong one. That's because I wasn't supposed to change instruments yet. Okay. See what I mean about how we used to do this stuff all the time? And then we've had 2 years of doing it in the basement. Everything that we need, just right there. Okay. Yeah, this one is with this. Okay. I think I'm ready now. Are you still with me? When I was a young maid, about 17, I enlisted in the Navy for to serve the Queen. I enlisted in the Navy, a sailor lad to stand, for to hear the cannons rattling and the music so grand, the music so grand, the music so grand, for to hear the cannons rattling and the music so grand. The officer who enlisted me was a fine and handsome man. He said, "You'll make a sailor, so come along, me lad." My waist being tall and slender, my fingers long and thin, of the very tasks they learned me, I soon exceeded them. I soon exceeded them. I soon exceeded them. At every task they learned me, I soon exceeded them. They sent me to bunk and they sent me to bed, for to lie with the sailor lads I never was afraid. But But in buttoning up me blue coat, it often made me smile to think I was a sailor and a maiden all the while, a maiden all the while, a maiden all the while, to think I was a sailor and a maiden all the while. They sent me to London to guard the tower, and I swore that I would be there until my dying hour. But a lady fell in love with me. I told her I was a maid. So she went up to my captain, and my secret she betrayed. My secret she betrayed. My secret she betrayed. She went up to my captain, and my secret she betrayed. The captain, he came up to me, and he asked if it were so. I dared not, I dared not, I dared not say no. It's a pity we should lose you, such a sailor lad you made. It's a pity we should lose you, such a handsome young maid. A handsome young maid, a handsome young maid. It's a pity we should lose you, such a handsome young maid. So fare you well, my captain, you've been so kind to me. And likewise, my sailor lads, I'm sorry to part with thee. But if ever the Navy needs a lad, a sailor I'll remain. I'll put off my cap and feathers, and I'll run the rigging again. I'll run the rigging again. I'll run the rigging again. I'll put off my cap and feathers, and I'll run the rigging again. Yes, I'll run the rigging again. I'll run the rigging again. I'll put off my cap and feathers, and I'll run the rigging again. Thank you. Okay, now I've practiced this. I keep the strap. Yeah, see how it comes back to me with just a little practice. Now, I was saying there are so many versions of this this young woman going off to sea song that I kept searching for one that had everything I wanted. The big long ballad story, which has motivation and other characters involved and the whole thing, but also a catchy tune and a chorus. And I kept finding things had the elements that I wanted, but not all of them in the same song. So now there's one more song about a young woman going off to sea dressed up as a sailor, because I had to write one. There was a wealthy merchant in London did dwell. Blow ye winds, blow far across the sea. He had an only daughter, and her story I will tell. Blow my love home to me. She had sweethearts aplenty, and men of high degree. Blow ye winds, blow far across the sea. 'Twas only Jack the sailor lad her true love e'er could be. Blow my love home to me. Now Jackie's gone a-sailing with trouble on his mind. Blow ye winds, blow far across the sea, for the leaving of his country and his darling girl behind. Blow my love home to me. So she went into a tailor shop and dressed in men's array. Blow ye winds, blow far across the sea, then signed on board a vessel to convey herself away. Blow my love home to me. Before you step on board, sir, your name I'd like to know. Blow ye winds, blow far across the sea. With a smile upon her countenance, she answered Jack Monroe. Blow my love home to me. Your waist is light and slender, your fingers they are small. Blow ye winds, blow far across the sea. Your cheeks too red and rosy for to face a cannonball. Blow my love home to me. my fingers, they are small. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea. But I will not faint nor falter, though 10,000 round me fall. Blow, my love, on me. The drums did loudly rattle, sweet music they did play. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea, and unto the field of battle they soon did sail away. Blow, my love, unto me. When the war was over, she hunted all around. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea. Among the dead and wounded men, her darling boy she found. Blow, my love, unto me. She picked him up all in her arms and carried him to town. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea, and sent for a physician who has quickly healed his wounds. Blow, my love, unto me. Some days had passed before our Jackie opened up his eyes. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea. Only then he heard the story of his darling in disguise. Blow, my love, unto me. When next she came to see him, he's straight down on his knee. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea. May I wed the bravest mariner who's ever sailed the sea. Blow, my love, unto me. This couple, they got married, so well did they agree. Blow, ye winds, blow far across the sea. This couple, they got married and they went no more to sea. Blow, my love, home to me. Blow, my love, home to me. Blow, my love, home to me. Thank you. It's kind of my favorite lyric, that one, but in all the versions I'd found, they end with her finding him among the dead and dying men, and song over. So, come on. That's no way to end a story. So, you don't want to try your, no, let's not risk that. Well, I did spend a lot of time around the sea growing up, in Anchorage and Seward, South Central Alaska. You've got, there's a lot of ocean there. So, in my early songwriting years, I just realized I've started 3 different songs now about, when I was a young girl, when I was a young maid, when I was a teenager. That's when I started writing this next song. I was probably 13 or 14 years old, and I never finished it until we found ourselves on lockdown in 2020. And back at my mom's house where I had been writing it, and there was something about, just going back to that part of my brain and being in an isolated place that brought out this. Wish me luck. This is one of those things where lighting is interesting. If you've never tried playing the hammered dulcimer, it's a really, really visual instrument, and there's no physical contact with it. So everything has to be done based on where you are relative to the instrument and seeing where everything's going. And with the combination of lights and shadows here, well, that's my excuses out of the way. Waves of the sea speak softly to me. A gull's haunting cry joins in song. The red setting sun, when each day is done, takes a bright shining bow and moves on. A day ends, a day begins, and where do they go as time melts our lives away like sun on the snow? And here I am. Alone on the shore, I join in the choir, casting my voice into the wind, while under my feet the earth never sleeps, just turns ever round and round again. The moon circles watchfully, both fettered and free, and calls to the ocean, come away, come to me, and here I am. The tide comes and goes, the tide swirls and flows, water and sand know their way. The world cries aloud, making no outward sound. The cold, silent void will not convey. How lonely is timelessness, how lonely to be alone in the universe, alone with the sea, and here I am. Of the sea, speak softly to me. Thank you. Okay. Well, you'll understand that when we do festival sets, I usually try to, we're doing, 3 or 4 pieces on a set, and I usually try to scale down which instruments we're bringing. And Mike has always argued for, bring it all, it looks good, we like it, it's all fun to play. And then we go around and try to set it up in time to actually get to our set started. So that's next weekend.
We'll talk.
We haven't a clue, but I know what we're playing right now. You might recognize this baby Claire. This is actually Claire's harp.
Well, it was gifted to me.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't play harp either, but you've seen what I do. I'm more bold than intelligent. So I'm just going, let's get Halloween started early, shall we? I don't know what's happening here, but at our house we have this great big maple tree, and the leaves have been drying out, and we're getting absolutely buried in maple leaves. So it really looks like autumn where we are. So we're getting in the mood for Halloween. And this is a song about how not to run a relationship with somebody who's dead. Cold blows the wind to my true love, and gently drops the rain. I only had but one true love, and in greenwood she lies slain. Way down in yonder grove, sweetheart, where you and I did walk, the fairest flower that ever I saw is withered to a stalk. The stalk is withered and dry, sweetheart, the flower will never return. And since I lost my own true love, what can I do but mourn? I'll do as much for my true love as any young man may. I'll sit and mourn all on her grave for 12 months and a day. When 12 months and a day had passed, the ghost began to speak. Why sittest thou all on my grave, and will not let me sleep? There's one thing that I want, sweetheart, there's one thing that I crave, and that is a kiss from your lily-white lips, then I'll go from your grave. My lips, they are as cold as clay, my breath smells awfully strong. And if you kiss my cold clay lips, your days, they won't be long. Go fetch me water from the desert and blood from out of a stone. Go fetch me milk from a fair maid's breast that young man never has known. Cold blows the wind to my true love, and gently drops the rain. I only had but one true love, and in greenwood she lies slain. When shall we meet again, sweetheart? When shall we meet again? When the oaken leaves that fall from the trees turn green and spring to life again. Thank you. Back to my hurdy-gurdy. It's feeling neglected, and one thing I know about hurdy-gurdies from the years of experience I've had is they do not like to be neglected. They're sort of like 3-year-olds. You know, the more attention you pay to them, the better they behave. And the other side of that, of course, is that you can't even count on that rule to be true.
I was going to say, what school did you go to?
Yeah. Not one with 3-year-olds in it.
Mm-mm.
The hurdy-gurdy is best known as a French instrument. Have you all obviously some of you have, but have you all seen hurdy-gurdies before? Do you know basically what they are and how they work? A little bit of a no there, some no's back there. Okay. I get to launch my favorite description then. This is the modern descendant of the medieval cousin of the violin, which has been set up with, it's a gong. Perfect, yeah. It's, so it's got a bow. The bow in this case is a wheel turned with a crank. So this wheel turns and rubs the bottoms of the strings when I drop them on. And I play it with what's basically an upside down backwards piano keyboard. So it's backwards from how you finger the violin, but it's the same reaches in reverse. And the sharps and flats are closer to my hand rather than farther away. So it's a lot of fun stuff to learn how to do, and it's a bit like, well, most people just play hurdy-gurdy as more of a compulsion than anything else. You know, it's something that you get addicted to, and then we try to get as much advanced on it as we can. Oh, and they're all gut strings, which is why if you hear hurdy-gurdies being played, you always hear them being tuned, because gut does not keep its pitch very well. Even this metal wound string, that's silver wind around a gut string. And I'm going to launch into a set of French tunes because the hurdy-gurdy is most popular in France, or best known, I guess, in France. But for the exotic flavor, I've picked 3 tunes that their titles translate, I believe, to the Hungarian, Cyprus, and the East. Oops, I just tuned the wrong one.
What's the wheel covered with?
Rosin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's... Oh, and the strings have cotton on them, which protects them from getting worn out too fast and gives them that little bit of texture that you get from horsehair on a violin bow, which is what actually moderates the tone in as much as it is moderated. This one has been shifting with the weather, so it's going to be a little... Sounds like it's going to be a little
Was that a
harsh.
woodworking question, Ham?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's a wooden wheel then covered with
It's a strip of ebony wrapped around a maple core.
Should I get more complicated and say that would be the traditional one?
No,
This one is 2 different types of cast resin. So,
see how she listens to me.
yeah. Okay, so this string. Ready to go first. This one queued up for later. And then these. All right. Thank you. And that's how we do harmonies on hurdy-gurdies. It has two melody strings, but they're tuned to each other, so they can't play two different things. So we just have to make it up. So, did you do drumming on Perry Mary?
On what?
Perry Mary?
No.
So how is the time going?
It's almost 3. Oh, it is 3.
Oh,
It's 3.
it's already 3. So should I do one more song and?
Perhaps.
Or-
At least one more.
Okay.
May I make a quick comment about an October house concert here?
Absolutely.
And I realize the online folks, most likely, this will not be live streamed, so
That's
I'll do this
okay.
very
Yeah, you
quickly.
just go right back.
Yeah, I'll just do this very quickly. October 15th, we'll be having Emily Groff, who is a singer and a harpist, lives on Bainbridge Island, lovely woman, and she'll be here. We'll probably be doing it inside by October 15th, but more than delighted if any of you would like to let me know that you'd like to be coming to that, and any of you. I'd love to have folks from
From the internet
wherever
world.
they are, yeah, from the international. So, check with us about that afterward. We also have an email list, our email list, which I'm more than thrilled to put your email on if you let me know. That's it.
Okay.
Back to Tanya. And where else are you going to be
Tumbleweed.
in?
We'll see you next weekend. Tumbleweed.
For a second there, I thought Claire was going to remind you that you've got CDs available, and maybe if anyone was interested.
Well, I think the people here have seen them, right? And the people online have seen
Yeah,
us
you-
often
you
enough.
watch-
You know about
You
our
all
CDs.
watch the Antiques Roadshow, don't you? You know what they are. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, CDs, yep. And thank you for reminding me, because remember in the first half when I did that song that I wrote from the Anne McCaffrey stories, what I forgot to mention was I got a couple of wonderful voices on that with me in the recording. Primarily Emily Groff. Yes. And with me finishing off on harp here, yeah, your next house concert, you get to see what somebody who actually plays the harp can do with one of these. Should it be? Okay, so now I am at a crossroads, and I do want to just finish one more song, and I have 2 picked out here that both have choruses, and I wonder if I should do one that's kind of a fake Latin chorus or one that's a really, really, really familiar song to most people.
Well, you might get an encore. You never know.
Never do. Okay.
Works for us.
So, how's your Latin? Okay.
I did 3 years for university.
Okay. Well,
This one for me.
Well, this expects
None
you
for
to
me.
sing in Latin, so for me anyway, it's flattened. But there you go.
well, let's. The flattened part came in because this is actually a medieval English song, translated from the Middle English by yours truly, because I started out singing it in Middle English and nobody understood a word I was singing. So I modernized the verses, but the chorus was already something that had obviously started out as Latin and been run through the ringer by medieval English bards. So you might.
So you must have had some history with Vulgate Latin itself, as opposed to the original Pantyr.
No, I didn't, because I was too busy studying Russian to study Latin. So, no, sorry. Anyway, so this song is all about nice sisters. I wonder if my sister's still watching. She tuned in a little while from work, because overtime, you know. But this is a song about sisters who bring presents for their big sisters. I have a young sister far across the sea, Peri Mary Dictum Domine. Many be the druries that she sent to me, Peri Mary Dictum Domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. She sent me a cherry without any stone, cherry dictum domine. So she did a dove without any bone, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. She sent me a briar without any sting, peri meri dictum domine. She bade me love my true love without longing, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Now how can a cherry be without stone, peri meri dictum domine? Or how can a dove be without bone, peri meri dictum domine? Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. How can a briar be without sting, peri meri dictum domine? How can I love my layman without longing, peri meri dictum domine? Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. When the cherry was a seed, then it had no stone, peri meri dictum domine. When the dove was an egg, it had no bone, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. When the briar was a seed, then it had no sting, peri meri dictum domine. When the maid hath her desire, there's no longing, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. I have a young sister far across the sea, peri meri dictum domine. So many be the druries that she sent to me, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Partum quartum paredi centum, peri meri dictum domine. Thank you. Uh-oh. That's on the harp again. One more. And this time I'm not going to try any instrumental solos.
My sister who's watching says, little sisters who send presents to their old sisters, I mean their
Older sisters. Yes.
Very much enjoying this question.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, it's my older sister who would be watching online if she's still there. Yep. Okay.
Something by the Eagles!
That was a refrain when I was first learning to play in front of people in pubs in Fairbanks. So, sorry, they're bars in Fairbanks. They're not pubs in Fairbanks. I like the way your sparkling earrings lay against your skin so brown. I want to sleep with you in the desert tonight, with a billion stars all around, and I get a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground. I found out a long time ago what a lover can do to your soul. Ah, but they can't take you anyway. You don't already know how to go. And I get a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground. I get this feeling I may know you as a lover and a friend. This voice keeps whispering in my other ear, tells me I may never see you again. And I get a peaceful, easy feeling. I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing. I'm already standing. I'm already standing on the ground. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you everybody online, and we'll be planning more shows online in the future, and we'll be planning more live shows like this week or next weekend at Tumbleweed. And for those of you who are, on this side of the state, there is the weekend after next at the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival. I'll be not on the main stage, I will be on the radio stage off at the Point at 1 o'clock. So yeah, off the beaten track.
Echoes Brewery on September 9th.
Echoes Brewery on September 9th. Do you want to come up and Oop, watch the dulcimer at your back? Go ahead and announce anything else you want to announce before we...
That's it. I just want to thank everyone for attending.
We want to thank you for hosting.
Absolutely. And there's some food items on the table inside, and I left out the plates and the forks. And feel free to snitch a little more or take some home. Thank you, Michael, for all of your expertise. Mike Freeman, people.
On the tech.
On the tech. And Tanya Opland.
And Hanky Claire, opening spot and the venue.
Take care.
Okay. Thank you.
Lovely.